Hey everybody, welcome back to the channel. Liam Douglas here, and in today's video I'm going to be doing a bit of a tutorial on how to properly clean your camera gear. But before we get into all the details about this subject, let's go ahead and roll the intro. So as I mentioned before the intro, in today's video we're going to be going over the best way to clean your camera gear after you've been out shooting in the field. Now, one of the things you want to keep in mind is camera gear is extremely sensitive in a manner of speaking. There are certain things that you do want to do with it, certain things you don't want to do with it to clean it and take proper care of it. Now, one of the first mistakes that a lot of people make is when it comes to cleaning their lenses. Like this lens here, this is the Fujifilm 10-24 f4 lens. It's a great lens. Now, a lot of people are under the assumption that it's okay to clean the glass elements on the front and the rear of the lens using something like Windex. That's a bad idea. The ammonia in Windex will cause damage over time to the special coatings that are on the lens that allow the lens to give you the kind of images that you want. It'll damage the coatings that the manufacturer put on the glass that block lens flare and ghosting and stuff like that. So you don't want to use anything like Windex on your lens glass. It's good for automobile glass or windows around your home, but it's not good for the glass that's in your camera lenses. Now, another thing that people often think is safe to use on their camera lens glass is alcohol wipes. You don't want to use those either for the exact same reason. The alcohol will cause damage over time to the specific lens coatings that are on the glass. If you're in a real pinch and you absolutely have to use alcohol, make sure you get the stuff that's 99%, not the standard 70% stuff that you find in most stores. But to be honest, your best bet is to stay away from using any kind of chemicals to clean your lenses, especially the glass elements. What you want to use is something like this. This is a little microfiber cloth, and a lot of times when you buy certain items online, they'll throw one of these or two of these in the bag for free. Now, I did buy a box of lens wipes to use for my glasses because they're fine for that. And the company that makes the lens wipes for my glasses, they usually throw 4 or 5 of these in the box as well. So I save these to use for my camera lenses because the fabric that they're made from is extremely smooth and delicate. So it's not going to cause scratches to your lenses. Now, when you go to clean the elements on your lenses, you want to start in the center and work out towards the edges in a circular motion so that you get the lens nice and clean. You get any smudges, any dust, dirt, debris, water, anything like that off the lens, and the lens will then be nice and clean. Now, another thing that you can use to clean your lenses is a lens pen. That's what these things are made for. Now, if you look at the lens pen, it has a tool on both ends. So on this end, this end here, I think it is. Nope. I do have it. Oh, I forgot to take the cap off. Silly me. On this end, you have a lens brush. Now, you can use that to brush debris off your lens glass. It's not going to hurt it. It's very fine material. The brush is. You can also use a makeup brush in a pinch if you have to, because they're as soft and delicate as this particular brush is that's specifically made for cleaning your lenses. Now, on the other end of this, if I take this cap off, you have a little pod that has a piece of microfiber fabric attached to it. And you can use this to safely clean your lenses as well. Just start in the center and swirl out to the edges like I'm doing here. And that'll get your glass on your lens nice and clean without causing any scratches or damage or abrasion or anything like that to it. So then your glass is taken care of. You don't have to worry about causing any damage to your glass. Now, the other thing that the little brush on this thing can come in handy for is to brush like sand and stuff like that off the barrel of your lens, to make sure you don't have any sand that gets trapped in there where your autofocus, manual focus switch or any other switches are. You make sure you get those areas cleaned out by brushing it off with that brush, and that'll help keep your lens in good operating condition. Now, another thing that I recommend that you keep with you at all times, and I keep these items in every camera bag, you know, every time I pack a camera bag, whichever one I take, whether it's one of my backpacks or my think tank bags, whatever the case may be, I have this basic gear in there for cleaning my camera body and lenses when I'm done shooting out in the field. So the next thing I would recommend for taking care of the camera body is microfiber towels. Now you can get these towels anywhere. You can buy packs of them on Amazon. If you have a store in your town, you can get them at Harbor Freight, and I believe Walmart carries them as well. And they come in various sizes. So this one here is from a pack of smaller ones, so it's about the size of a washcloth. And what you would do is you just use this to brush any dirt and debris off your camera body's exterior. Wipe it down to clean it up, get it looking nice again. Again, you don't want to use any chemicals on your camera body, anything that's going to damage the finish, the rubberized coating, textured coating. You don't want to damage any of that stuff, so you want to be extremely careful even with what you use on the camera body. Now, this is my Fujifilm X Pro 3, and the body is a magnesium alloy. Oh, actually, no, I think this one's titanium, if I remember right. Yeah, this one's titanium. But titanium does scratch. It is a tough metal. It's virtually indestructible as far as the metal itself, but any paint on it will scratch off fairly easily. That's why my wedding band, a lot of people think this is a titanium wedding band. It's not. This one's actually tungsten because it's as tough and durable as titanium. But unlike titanium, tungsten will not scratch and scrape off the paint over time or the coloring over time like titanium will. So you want to keep that in mind. But just use a microfiber towel like this. And like I said, they're cheap. You can get them at Harbor Freight. I think you can get a pack of 10 of this size microfiber towels for like $6 or something like that. So they're not super expensive. You can use them over and over again. If they get too dirty, just throw them in your washing machine with your hand towels or something like that, and you can wash them and use them over and over again. Now, you can also, and I do recommend this, also look at getting a pack of the larger microfiber towels. Now, this one is a big one. This one's almost the size of a bath towel. But the reason why I like to have the larger ones with me is if I'm going to be shooting in inclement weather, you know, rain, snow, something like that, then what I will do is I will use the larger towel, this one here, to pat dry my camera body and the exterior of my lens. I'll use it to do that, you know, to dry the barrel, the body of the lens off, dry off the caps, all that good stuff, dry off the camera body. All of that, you know, wipe it all around just to get it nice and dry. And then since this one will be damp, then I'll use my small dry one that's still in my bag to do some fine cleaning, you know, brushing off the body to make sure I get any dirt, gunk, sand, mud, whatever the case may be, to get all of that off my body. Now on the camera body itself, if it gets really, really dirty, you could clean the outside of it with a very, very mild soap. I try to avoid that myself. You could if you absolutely need to. Just make sure you get an extremely mild soap, something that's not going to damage the rubberized textured coating or any of the plastic or anything like that. But don't put the soap directly on the camera body. Put it on your cloth and then use the cloth to wipe off the camera with. You might have to use some delicate soap if you get some stains from whatever grime gets on the camera body, and just wiping it with a dry microfiber towel doesn't get it off. Although before using soap, I would recommend just dampen this with some water from water bottle or something like that, or tap water or whatever, and use that to try to get that stubborn debris, mud, or whatever the case is, to get that off the camera body. So again, you're not causing any inadvertent damage to any of the surfaces or materials that the camera body is made from. Now, I do not plan in this video to show you how to clean your camera sensor. I don't want to do that because I don't want to, go over cleaning a sensor and then you watch this video, you attempt to clean your sensor yourself and you accidentally damage your sensor. The sensor is very delicate, so unless you really know what you're doing, I don't recommend cleaning the sensor yourself, especially if you're a new photographer or student photographer. Your best bet is just take your camera to a local camera shop and get them to clean the sensor for you. It's generally not too expensive. The shops down when I lived in Atlanta, I think they charged like $40 or something like that to do a full sensor cleaning. And I mean, they do the whole ball of wax. When they're done, your sensor is immaculately clean again. They have the proper tools and equipment to do that kind of stuff. At one time, there was an item online that you could buy called the sensor gel stick. I have one of those. I don't know why they've been discontinued. Do not buy the ones on Amazon that claim to be the sensor gel stick. They're not. They're cheap Chinese knockoffs. And some of them, the stickiness on the pad that you use to clean your sensor is too strong and it'll actually rip part of your sensor off when you go to lift it back off when you're trying to remove debris from the sensor. The original real sensor gel stick, which you could buy from, I think it was like 𝐓𝐇𝐈𝐒 website or something like that, they were legit. They work. I have one of those and it's fantastic, but for whatever reason, they don't sell them anymore. So again, I would stick with taking your camera body to a professional camera repair shop, get them to clean it, or contact the manufacturer of your camera, whether it's Fujifilm, Canon, Sony, Nikon, Pentax, whoever, and ask them what they would charge to clean your camera. Now, some of the camera companies, and I know this is especially true with Canon because I was a Canon shooter for quite a few decades, if you join Canon CPS, even at the silver level, which is the least expensive of the paid levels of Canon professional services, it's $100 a year. It covers all your camera gear, all your lenses, all your bodies. It's not insurance, but it's kind of an extended protection. You get preferential treatment when you send your stuff in to get it cleaned or repaired, and you also get discounts. And while your gear is in being repaired, if it's a major repair, Canon will send you a loaner body or lens to replace it, to substitute with, while you're waiting for yours to get repaired and sent back to you. So that's another option, because when you get something like Canon Professional Services, yes, it's $100 a year, which isn't too terrible. But the nice thing about that is you can get, I think it's 2 sensor cleanings per year included in that $100 price. So you're already making out, because like I said, at a lot of camera shops, it's $30, $40, $50 to get your sensor clean. So if you pay $100 for CPS or whatever your camera company's version of that is, make sure it does include sensor cleanings. But like I said, if you pay that $100 to Canon CPS, you can get your sensor cleaned twice a year. Now, the great part of that is if you happen to go to any of the photography trade shows like WPPI or B&H's new Build, B-I-L-D, that just happened recently this year up in New York City, or you go to any of the other camera shows like Imaging USA, you can stop by your manufacturer's booth, drop your camera off, and get the sensor cleaned for free while you're there. So that's pretty cool as well. But I wanted to cover this. I've had a lot of student photographers asking me over the last couple of months, about cleaning their camera gear, their lenses and camera bodies. And some of them, I was glad they emailed me first, because they're like, oh yeah, so-and-so told me I could use Windex on my glass. I'm like, God, no, don't use Windex on your glass. You're going to damage those coatings, and then you're not going to be a happy camper, and your lens is going to give you really messed up images if those coatings get destroyed. So that's definitely not something that you want to do. All right, that's going to wrap up this video. I want to thank you all for taking the time to watch it. Please remember to subscribe down below, turn on all notifications, and I will see you in the next video.